I got a story to tell. Let me break it down. From the depths of my soul, listen to the sound. Started from the bottom, now I'm on the rise. Through the highs and lows, I reach for the skies. I've seen darkness and pain built in my core. I keep on going.
Hi, my name is Mckaylee. I grew up in Beaver Creek, Ohio, and I have one brother. Growing up, we moved around a lot because my dad was in the military. So I have lived in other places like Florida and Texas. Eventually, we moved here when I was about 8 years old. He retired from the military. And so I would consider Ohio to be where I'm from, basically. So the way that I first heard about Toward Independence was I was actually in college. I was a student at Wright State University. I was going for a major in, at the time, rehabilitation services. One of my classes, we had a guest speaker, and it was actually Mark Schlater, who was the old CEO. You know, he came in and he spoke a lot about individuals with disabilities. He gave us a lot of really good information. And then at the end, he said, you know, if any of you are interested in an internship with Toward Independence, we do those. You can just reach me at my email. And for the program that I was going for, we needed an internship in order to graduate. And luckily I shot him an email and he wrote back within like seconds. And he was like, yeah, of course, like you can come over and, you know, we can sit down, we can talk about like what it is you need for your internship. I remember as a DSP, I was really nervous at first because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But it's really just about being a companion to the clients. You know, we would take them out on outings. I was taking them to places like the library. I was taking them to Four Paws to go and see the dogs and help wash the dog bowls and stuff. Helping them with volunteering up at the bistro and the coffee hub, and you know, really just kind of being there to support them. And you know, once I got a little bit more like comfortable in that role, it was a blast. Like I truly loved working at the day program, and I still kind of miss it sometimes. Because it was a lot more simple back then. I liked the interaction with the clients every single day. When the position for the QIDP opened up, did the interview, and luckily they liked what I had to say, and I got the position as the Q, which I still do really love. Like I love the Q position for different reasons for the DSP role. Since working at Toward Independence, I've become a lot more confident because when I first started, I was very, very shy. I was a very introverted person. I still am an introverted person, but I feel like I can deal with being in uncomfortable situations a lot better. Because at TI, you never know what's going to happen, what's going to just smack you in the face. I mean, every day is something new. You know, I'm solving problems left and right. Like, you just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so I would definitely say that working at TI has helped build my confidence in that aspect a lot. The first client that I ever really bonded with at TI, he used to go to the day program. He was a smoker, and he would always go out, and I think it was like in the mornings and in the afternoons, he would always ask to go out on a smoke break. And when I first started working there, they had me going out with him. And so he was the first client I really bonded with because I was always going out there, and he would have his smoke break for about 15 minutes, then we'd go back inside. But we would always have conversations, and you know, he was a hoot. And it even got to the point where, you know, I would be busy helping another client, like go to the bathroom or something like that towards the end of the day. And he would come up to me and he'd be like, Mckaylee, can you take me out for my smoke break? And I'd be like, well, I'm busy right now. Like, and he'd be like, it's okay, I can wait. So that is something that's always kind of stuck with me was, you know, the bond that I had with that first client. And yeah, but you know, I have made bonds with almost all of my clients. And they've all kind of helped shape me in a way. Just, you know, things that I've helped them go through, things that I've helped them achieve through their goals. Another client that I have on my caseload, she came to us from Pennsylvania, and she doesn't have any contact with her father. She wasn't really taken the best care of when she was living with her father. And, you know, when she came here, it was she was dealing with a lot of mental health problems, and through the help of like the entire team and the goals that we were writing for her and the things that we saw that we needed to help her with, she has kind of we're still making progress. There's still ways to go, but I feel like she has really kind of blossomed and started to like thrive in this environment, whereas before it was very like we didn't know like how the next day was going to be for her. So that's another one that's probably always going to stick with me. So one of the clients in Cincinnati, she actually got Mission Moment of the Year last year. She was on my caseload, and when I first was introduced to her, she didn't talk at all. She wouldn't even really acknowledge you if you were talking to her, and nobody really knew why. We just were like, oh, well, that's just her. And then I want to say like in the wintertime, there was a point where she wouldn't even get up out of bed, and she wasn't taking herself to the bathroom. She wasn't doing any sort of self-care. She would refuse to eat, refuse to have people shower her, all kinds of stuff. And she ended up having to go to the hospital because she was just laying in bed. She wouldn't get up, and she wouldn't speak. And we thought that it was going to be like the end for her. We didn't really know what was going on. But luckily she went to rehab, and she got better. She came back. Our team decided to move her to a home up here in Greene County, and now she's a completely different person. Like, you wouldn't even, if I told you which client this was, you wouldn't even believe this. Because she is such a different person now than how she was. Like, I mean, she is the most outgoing person. She is such a jokester. Like, she's just amazing. So that's probably another one that will always stick with me too, is seeing how the team at TI and all the staff who've come in to help have kind of helped shape and helped this client who is kind of in like a crisis mode to become better. Toward independence, what it represents to me is just what is in the name, toward independence. I feel like that's the ultimate goal for all of the clients who we serve in our agency is, we're all trying to push them towards independence. We're all trying to push them towards being the best version of themselves that they can be. And, that's dependent on the client, because not every single person is gonna, go on to get employment and, live on their own in their own apartment. It's dependent on the client, but, I think that we can push all of the clients toward independence. It's just whatever that independence looks like for them. I would absolutely recommend Toward Independence as a place to work. Because for one, I feel like the benefits are just, you can't beat it. Like, with health insurance and stuff like that, and the retention bonuses that we've gotten. And, there's so many things that Toward Independence does for their employees that I feel like other agencies don't do. Like, they really show us a lot of appreciation. Because, obviously without the DSPs, we're nothing. We can't do anything without the DSPs. So, I really like that Toward Independence, they really do show how much they care and value the employees who work there. My legacy at TI, I would really love I'd like to be recognized for the work that I have put in to kind of help change a lot of the aspects about the QIDP role. Because like I said before, like when I first came in as the Q, it was a mess. The documentation was not good. And, I've come in, I've kind of changed how certain things are done, made things more efficient, like our monthly reports. We used to be handwriting those. Now everything's all digital through a digital form, which Stephen helped me out with. And, just the process of writing the ISPs too is a lot less of a daunting task as it used to be. And yeah, so I think if there's one thing I would like to be kind of like remembered for at TI, it would be for all of the hard work that I've put in as the QIDP to try and, help my homes and also all of the ICF just become better in the long run. And I would hope that, if there's ever a time where I leave TI, whoever would come into the role after me would be a lot more comfortable in the role than how I was, because that's my goal.
It's got heart and power.